You ready, y'all?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Look who came on camera today, y'all. Look at this. Hi. What's up, everybody? We are here for our weekly recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We had the reunion part 2 last night. Now, last night didn't give me as much as the first episode did, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I expected to be some peaks and some valleys, okay? So they had to get some of the more boring stuff out the way, and we'll get to that. But some of the storylines that we didn't give a damn about during the season, so we don't give. Oh, little baby, I ain't seen the link, girl. Let me send you the link. So we damn sure don't give a damn. I'm sorry, little baby, that's my fault. So we damn sure don't care about them at the reunion, but of course they have to address it because they can't prove Erica right, basically. Okay, now movie man, I listen, movie man. If you are available, let me know. I can send you the link, honey. I know last week you weren't, so if you are available, I can send you the link and you come on up. Because again, we're not gonna be here. We be here about an hour because this episode ain't really give us a whole lot. We're gonna get the boring stuff out the way and then we're gonna backtrack. I know we usually like to go in chronological order of what happened, but we're just gonna go ahead and get the boring stuff out the way because we're gonna spend the most of our time talking about Erica playing ducking and dodging games last night with with Andy, honey, with Andy child. Um Okay, so let's go on and get the boring stuff out the way. Lisa and Amelia and Scott break up. We don't care.
I didn't even cover anything Rena had going on only because of the simple fact that this had to do with your child who really wasn't on the show. And this further lets us know, even though we already knew, you ain't have storyline to first.
None.
Outside of what you tried to make happen with Garcia. She was trying to make Fetch happen and Fetch wasn't going to happen.
Right.
So I
L
just,
love.
what?
No, I just said, hey, L love.
Oh, so yeah, so I just bypassed that completely because I don't give a fuck about her kids.
We
Sorry.
don't. No, baby. Welcome.
Sorry.
I'm not
Welcome
sorry.
on.
I'm not sorry. Okay, now let's talk about Kyle and Kathy. Now, this was a moment, okay? This was a big moment on the episode. They cried, they hugged. I think, let me tell you what I walked away from, and I'm gonna let y'all say y'all piece. What I walked away, it's okay, movie man, it's okay, babes. What I walked away from is Kathy needs some counseling. Because you should not, I shouldn't say you should not, because I thank God I'm not in that position. So, and I know, but I feel like for you to still be at a place of grief, and I don't know how to say this without sounding insensitive, but she needs some therapy. I'm gonna just leave it at that. She needs some therapy. Y'all, you got anything on that?
I mean, I totally agree that she needs some therapy. And more or less, I'm trying to figure out if she had a super deep connection with her mother that no one had, or maybe she just hasn't grieved her mother yet. And so maybe it's probably something suppressed because the fact that she even volunteered the information that she hasn't even spoken to her mother's friends.
Right.
That's like, oh, okay. So you really haven't fully dealt with this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she needs to talk to somebody.
And I find it interesting that she doesn't watch the show.
No. She watches Beverly Hills. She did not watch her sister's show.
Huh? No. When he was showing her the scenes when they did the flashback, and Andy was like, "Well, it was probably very hard for you to watch some of those scenes with Kyle and with Kim." And he said, "Well, have you seen those before?" She said, "No, not until the season, not until I watched this season when they showed it." So she didn't even watch it.
Ah, okay.
Now that's
All
what
right.
she said. Now, that's what she said, child. That's what she said. What do you think, little baby?
I mean, I agree. And then she also needs to take Kyle and Kim with her.
I I would say they need to do individual in addition to family therapy.
They might need some family therapy though, because all of them I think have dealt with their grief in a different way. I think Kyle, again from the outside looking in, I think Kyle has dealt with it in the healthiest way because we know Kim had the substance abuse issues and the man issues. I think part of it is that Kathy was older, and when their mom went through the divorce and had to sort of rebuild her life, I think Kathy remembers a lot of it on a much more um front line place than Kyle was. Because by Kathy being older, she probably remembers a lot more of the ins and outs. We tend to romanticize things because of our age and because of our perspective. And Kathy might remember shit a little more raw than Kyle does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like you said, she was way older. Like, well, we know how much older Kyle. What is she in her 50s yet? Meanwhile, Kathy is almost in her 70s. So we see the age
Uh,
difference there.
Kyle is in her 50s. I don't give a
Oh,
damn what
she's in her
nobody say.
50s?
I need to see her birth certificate to prove otherwise. Kyle in her 50s.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, there's almost a 20-year age difference there. I think
Yeah.
Kathy sees Kyle and Kim as daughters herself.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
When you
Tracy
have
said
that
that
big of an
Kathy
age
said she
difference.
stopped watching the show after. No, I mean Zara said she stopped watching the show after the first season when with the car fight and after the first season. I could understand that because that first season was vicious. That car fight with Kyle at the end, I remember that was the finale. That was the last episode of season one, and
Yeah.
she put it out there that she was an alcoholic, honey. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
Mm.
So, all right. So that was that. And again, it was a moment. It was definitely a moment. And again, what we know, and we've said this before this on here, that had the Erica Jane scandal not hit, that was actually really going to be one of the major storylines. And I think they were going to have it play out in at a much slower pace throughout the season. But I think they sort of threw it at us in a microwave fashion because so much of the season was focused on Erica Jane that they had to kind of just throw it at us. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I would have really been here for it because
Me either.
and maybe it's because I do have issues with my siblings, so it's just one of those where it's just like, okay, y'all ain't going through nothing. Ain't no other family that went through. All right, it's just y'all going through some of the same stuff. Y'all just got money attached to y'all shit, but
But I think if they had actually let the storyline flush out, I think it would have dug a little bit deeper and we would have gotten a little bit more of the story with what happened with Mauricio and her husband and the real estate piece of it. Because that they
okay.
can make this they keep trying to sugarcoat this that this was about, oh, I made a show, American Woman. They already weren't
Mhm.
speaking. They were already not speaking when Kyle did that. So their breach is deeper and it's about more than you talked bad to Kim on TV. No, 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 no.
And
There's
I even want to say it goes even past Mauricio allegedly taking Rick Hilton's clients. For someone to not talk to you for over 10 years and they're your sibling and y'all can enter a room and your sibling is like, okay, hey, child, whatever. Well, not even do that. It's something much deeper there.
Yeah, it's deeper. And that's why I said and I think again for the purposes of us getting the microwave version of it, we got the watered down version. But again, remember they already weren't speaking when Kyle, and that's one of the reasons why Kyle said, because remember when they were talking, Kathy said, "Why didn't you could have at least called me?" And Kyle was like, "You weren't speaking to me." So before she even got the deal to do American Woman, they weren't speaking. So it's deeper. They're ignoring the real behind the scenes mess with Mauricio. Exactly, because from what I remember, Mauricio was working for Kathy Hilton's husband, their real estate piece. And
Mm-hmm.
when Mauricio branched off to start the agency, the accusation was that he stole the client list.
Yeah.
And that's how he started his business, because he stole their client list, and that's where the big breakdown happened. The rest
Yeah.
of it is just collateral damage, but that's where the big, again, that's what I heard, That's what I had heard. So
That's
again,
the word on the street.
yeah, yeah, right. That's yeah, you stole my house. Yeah, because that's the thing between Kim and Kyle. That Kim alleges that Kyle stole her house, but Kyle's version of the story is, I saved your house. You was about to lose your house. But again, that's child.
But then it's also accusations that what Kim was saying Mauricio had allegedly did to some other people, and he has been in litigation because of that.
Listen, it may have happened. It may very well have happened the way Kim said it. Listen, I think a lot of times Kim doesn't get. I think people don't pay attention to Kim as much as they should because of Kim's, drug issues. But that don't mean she wrong. That don't mean she don't know what she talking about.
Kathy has a different father. Kim and Kyle have the same father.
Right. And remember, it's not weird that she doesn't talk about her dad because, again, if you watched American Woman, I mean, you see what happened. Their daddy, not only did their daddy cheat on the mama and leave her high and dry, but he got arrested and left her broke. Like, she went from being, pampered housewife and literally, I mean, again, it's a TV show, but it's based on what really happened. Their dad had an affair and their money. That's how Kyle and Kim and them got into doing movies and commercials was because they needed the money. Kim was saying that Kyle stole her percentage of the childhood home. Yeah. So, and again, Kyle's version of the story is, yeah, I took over your percentage because I gave you money. Like, basically, I bought the percentage off of you because you needed the money. So that's Kyle's version of the story is, yeah, I did, but I didn't steal it from you. Like, I gave you money because you needed the money. So anyway, that's what happened with that. So that's the boring stuff. Do we want to talk about Dorit and the you talk too much? Because
Dorit talk too much.
The fact that Andy Cohen had to stifle a yawn while you were talking, I feel like that's probably all we need to know about that storyline.
But see, though I don't see it for neither her nor Andrew, she needs to tread lightly because the way she gonna say to him, "Am I boring you?" is like, you're not a queen bee, sweetheart. You're no Nene Leakes.
Well,
You're no
rumors are that they already replaced her.
Like, you're not one of those big names where they can carry a scene and damn near carry a show on their back. You're not either one of them, and you ain't give us nothing but some nice gowns, beautiful gowns. That's all you gave us.
The rumors have already started, and I mean, we know that this happens at the end of every season. We know this happens, but what's unique is that there really is not a whole lot of layover between the ending of this season and the beginning. They're filming, so usually we have months after the finale. There are a couple of months before they start filming, and then we have a buildup of the who's coming back and who's not. But with this, we don't really have a lot of buildup because they are literally filming
right into it.
Exactly. And so the rumors are that Dorit is not coming back or that she is in danger. Like, she's on her last, okay, girl, you better bring it this season or that's it, contract. So it'll be very interesting to see what Dorit gives us. I don't think they're going to fire Dorit. I think they're going to try to keep as much of the cast together as possible because I don't think they want to bring in a lot of new people with the Erica Jane stuff. I think they don't want to bring in a lot of new people with that, but it will be interesting to see if Dorit gives us anything this season because let's be clear, she ain't gave us shit since Puppygate, and Puppygate won't shit.
Girl,
I mean,
God, don't mention that damn dog.
Right? I mean, she ain't gave us nothing since Puppygate, and like I said, Puppygate won't shit. So,
woo. And
for her, and she said, "Now listen," she said she never had a nose job.
The lies you tell.
Y'all, when they put that side by side up, I said, ooh, Bravo shady as hell. When they showed that picture of Dorit when she was like, I guess 18, 19, and they put it side by side with her picture today, I said, y'all shady as fuck.
And someone else had pointed out, because I didn't even see this, but someone else had pointed out she possibly also did something to her chin, also maybe shaved it down a little bit.
I think Dorit has had work, period. Like, here's the thing. Let me just be clear about this. Two things you ain't gonna never hear me do over here. Well, I ain't gonna say never, because sometimes I might do it in a joking fashion. But I ain't shaming nobody for having a little bit of nip tuck here and there. And I don't shame legal sex work, because listen, if it's legal and that's how you want to make your living, I ain't gonna shame you on it. And I ain't shaming nobody for having a facelift, some liposuction, a nip tuck. I ain't mad at you. Now, when you go too far, I might have something to say. But a little bit of this and a little bit of that, I ain't mad at you. Because let's be clear, when I'm rich, oh, I'm getting some shit done. Notice I said when and not if, okay? When I am rich, I'm going to get some shit done.
Dorit had a football on her face.
I'm
I
just
don't know
telling
who
y'all.
she put over here.
I'm just telling y'all. So when y'all see me, y'all going to be like, did really me? I'm going to say, yep, I did.
And then it also looked like she did something to her forehead, because her hairline comes forward a little bit more. It could be a wig placement, but I do know that you can't have something done to your forehead to shrink it.
I don't know.
Honestly, I wasn't even paying that much attention, because I was just sitting here just like, what are we about to get from Dorit that we got this season? Nothing. So I really want to.
We got nothing from Dorit. Nothing from
When
Dorit.
looking at her, I'm just sitting here just like, mm-hmm. So I'm glad you was able to identify all that stuff a little bit, because I was just over here just like, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's the little stuff. It's the little stuff that people get away with, and you won't notice it. Like, you'll see it, but you can't quite put your finger on it. But you know they did something.
Yeah.
Right. So and I do the same thing. Like, I can look at somebody and be like, something don't look the same. But like you said, but I can't always put my finger on it. I'll be like, something.
It's literally the tiniest things that they'll do.
Right. But I can't tell you what it is. So, all right. So now let's get into this nitty gritty, because again, that was all the little boring stuff. Let's get into this nitty gritty. The two other things that went down. We could talk about the hold on. Oh no, I got a couple of other notes here. The tough conversation that they had about race. They talked about that a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that I'll say is I do agree with what Garcelle said, that it was nice that they were able to have the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have any type of diversity amongst, certain platforms, you're not going to get the conversation, because we all know the drama that happened with New York. So it was nice that they were able to have the conversation and nobody get too bent out of shape, despite the fact Renna said that shit. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She said that shit.
Here's the rumor on that.
Uh-oh.
They said Renna did say it. And they said Kyle told Kathy, and Kathy told Kyle.
You could look at Kyle's face. That said it all. Like, we know Kyle was the one that said it.
I believe Renna said it too. I said that in my review. I absolutely believe Renna said it. Absolutely believe Renna said it.
Yeah, and I believe the tone that you suggested that she may have possibly said it. Oh, because Renna isn't. Well, that whole cast isn't about being deep. I mean, let's be clear. Erica sat up here and lied for 6 years about her life. So they're not about being real
right now. And
they want to keep everything very surface.
Right. And I can appreciate that Kathy said that she appreciated Garcelle setting her straight about what she said about Michael Jackson. And because again, when white people say those things, I don't think they mean any harm, but I don't think they understand that that doesn't make us feel good. When you say, well, when I see you, I don't see color, that doesn't make us feel good. Because like Garcelle said, then what you're telling me is you don't see me. And that's not okay. So we got to get away from, and again, I know white people have been taught to say that. That's been shit that they've been taught to say since, I don't see color. You're just my friend. And I know that they think that makes us feel good. Like, oh, they don't see color. No, it doesn't. And so, and that is why I've said this before, and everybody doesn't agree with me when I say this, and that's fine. But that is why I say we have to have the conversations. We have to, even somebody that you think feels the way they feel, even somebody that you think is a little ignorant and doesn't always convey themselves the most appropriately, we need to have the conversation, because the only way we learn and move forward is if we have the conversation, and we have the hard conversation. That's I wrote that in my notes. The hard conversations and the uncomfortable conversations are the ones we have to have. So when someone says, hey, I didn't know I was being racist, so I didn't know that my comments were racist comments, what we have to stop doing is saying, yes, you did. How do you not know that that was racist? We've got to stop doing that, because we've got to stop thinking that the world is one dimensional and everybody's experience is ours, and everybody sees things that we see, and everybody understands that things that you say can be deemed as insensitive or racist. We've got to stop doing that, because if we don't, we're never going to move past it. That's just like with me. I mean, somebody had to get me together about a comment I made, and I didn't think I was being offensive as it relates to some LGBTQ situations. And I had to hear what they had to say and go, you know what? I can't tell you that you're wrong, because I'm not in your class. I'm not in that class. So I'm listening to you tell me that what I said was offensive, and I have to respect that. I just have to respect that, and I have to learn from it. That doesn't mean I have to always understand it. But if Yarrell, if I make a comment about Jewish people, Yarrell says, hey, really be, you're doing too much. I have to respect that he's coming from a place of knowledge that I don't have. And I can say, well, y'all, please explain to me why I said, why was that wrong? And if his response to me is, you know why it's wrong, bye, what have I learned in that moment? And what's going to stop me from saying it again? So we've got to move away from white people invented racism. They understand racism. We got to get away from that. And I'm not talking about the obvious examples, y'all. I ain't talking about that. But do we really think that Kathy Hilton meant any harm when she said, well, years ago, I talked to Michael Jackson and he said that he doesn't see color?
No, that was said very innocently.
I mean, now I will say, to play the other side, even though that was innocent, compared to a couple of other minor stunts she pulled during the season, that didn't look well either. And the instances I'm referring to is not coming to Garcelle's, excuse me, Haitian dinner, not letting her know that she wouldn't be there, and then inviting a handful of women to get those little facial spa things, but you didn't invite Garcelle.
Yeah, so that was rude. Now, her not coming to Garcelle's dinner and not letting Garcelle know, that was rude. That was rude. I don't think, but that was rude. I'm gonna just leave it at that. That was rude.
But like I said, I'm not saying that she's racist or anything. I'm just saying, given that first thing and the other two, it just doesn't paint a beautiful picture. Is all that I'm saying.
It doesn't. That was rude. It was rude. I don't have any other way of writing that. It was rude. It was rude. But again, I can appreciate that the conversation was had.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that, as a Black person who I've loved, I love these shows that don't always represent me. I look at a lot of shows that don't have any Black representation, but what I can appreciate is when they do bring on someone who looks like me. I appreciate that we address the elephant in the room. Let's have the conversation. Let's lean into the fact that you're the only Black woman here. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I can appreciate that. And inviting Garcelle to Paris's party recently is her attempt at damage control. I don't know if it's her attempt at damage control so much as it's her attempt at being inclusive.
Or maybe, and if the cameras were there, it could have been for the show. Possibly.
You know what? Because they are filming.
Yeah,
they are filming, because they filmed Kyle's daughter's bat mitzvah for the show. Her bat mitzvah was filmed for the show. Right? Did I pronounce it right, y'all? Bat mitzvah,
yeah.
Bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was filmed for the show. Because what's up, Treasure Lane?
Now I don't know if they'll discuss Garcelle's Haitian dinner, but the word that has gotten back to me is Kathy did text Garcelle that she wasn't coming.
Oh.
Very well have. Because I don't believe again, I find it hard to believe that somebody like a Kathy Hilton, who is all about, etiquette and manners, didn't let somebody know she was. I don't believe that Kyle's the only person she said she wasn't coming to. But again, I do think they're going to talk about the dinner. One, because of what happened at the end of the dinner with the conversation between Crystal, Sutton, and Kyle. When they get back on this Sutton, because they that has to be part 3 that they're going to address Kyle.
I think
Sutton and Erica. That they got to be circling back around to
I
that.
think that's probably part 4 because it seemed like the next part is going to be involving Crystal quite a bit. And since I didn't mention her, do I have permission next week to give her the business? Because I already told you I don't care about her tears and the cyberbullying that she didn't received. I'm just asking, do I have that permission or do I need to give you like 10%? I'm just asking.
Let me listen. I'm not saying no. But let me look at the episodes. I ain't saying no. I ain't saying
Okay.
no. I ain't saying no. Because let me say this about Crystal. Again, I was feeling Crystal in the beginning, but I feel
Mhm.
like she did way too much with that whole Sutton situation. Like, girl, you were really giving Sutton way too much. Way too much.
Well, I mean, she was doing what most people when they first, if it's their first season on an already established show, try to sit here and conjure up something. I mean, at least she didn't do what Mia did on Potomac, where it seemed like
It's
she
just
was trying to
lie.
fall out with everybody and see which one stuck.
I mean, she may have exaggerated the situation with Sutton, but at least she ain't just tell a whole lie like Mia did. Mia just told she said you was a fake bitch. Who said that?
You
I said,
did.
like, what? Who said that? Like, what? Fake bitch? Who said that?
But I just wanted to ask because I know we gonna get there, and I know when I do my review for it, I know I'm probably gonna get some backlash because I'm being insensitive and all the other stuff. I think you've known me enough to know that I really don't really care. And here's the thing: I can empathize with you all day long. I just don't have a lot of sympathy for people
So let me ask you this. Why don't you like Crystal? Like, why are you giving her the business? Why would
because of what she gave during the season. And there were moments where she could have spoken up but didn't. And then it's also the whole identity thing because she even spoke about, her trying to find her identity. And it's just very convenient that she clicked up with a group of women where even on part 1 of the reunion, they ain't have see it. The 3 close to Andy and then you over here, ain't nobody really dealing with you. So it seemed like you were trying to make a power move, and then you really got upset that Garcelle said she didn't know who you were. Like you're grasping for a moment because it really wasn't that deep. And then you were one of those that initiated that conversation, knowing good well Garcelle is friends with Sutton. So no, I don't see it for you. I really don't. And the thing is that you play the game, and guess what? This is the price that you being dealt. Now, do I agree with people, sending hate speech and all that stuff towards her? No, I don't. I don't subscribe to that. But I don't have any sympathy for you either. That's
I
what
got
I'm
you. I'm with you. I got it. I got it. Because again, honestly, after Sutton shut her ass down about them leather pants, I just forgot about Crystal. I just forgot she was there. Just like last night's episode, the only thing I think Crystal said on the whole episode was when Andy asked her who she thought was right or wrong in the argument between Dorit and Kyle. Other than that, I don't remember anything that Crystal said last night.
Oh, the age difference. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Right, movie man. Crystal started off pretty good with me. I mean, because I was feeling it when she came for Sutton and was like, "Oh, don't tell me you're one of those I don't see color people." I was like, "Oh," and then it went like after that second episode, it was downhill from there for me. Anyway, so there was that. Okay, so let's get to Erica. The first 15 minutes was Erica and and Andy. So let's go through. I'm gonna go through some of my notes and then we can just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, Erica said that she Andy was trying to. First of all, Andy asked her about cheating, and she hesitated, and then said she never cheated until she filed for divorce. I don't believe her because she
Me
hasn't
either.
long. Because to me, you don't have to think about it. If you've been married for 20 years, you know whether the hell you cheated or not. You don't have to think.
Exactly.
And then the fact that she said not until I filed for divorce. So what that mean? Like the day you filed, then you started dating somebody. Like what, Erica? What?
Which
So
means
I
they
don't
were
believe
already satelliting around.
her.
You were
Right. I don't
already
believe her.
entertaining.
I don't believe her. Then Andy was like, "But why didn't you leave? If life was so horrible, he cheated on you, he treated you so bad. Why didn't you leave?" And he was like, because he said the same thing I've been saying all this time. Girl, you don't have a prenup. You did not have a prenup. Why didn't you go nowhere, ma'am? She said she gave that man all her money. Every dime she made, she gave it to her. I
A
mean, she
man
gave
with
it.
Now,
dementia.
I know,
First
I
of all, I
know,
don't believe it, and second of all, that's stupid.
I know there are some relationships, and like I said, we could just take gender out of it, where the person that has the oldest holds power, this, that, and the third, and it's almost like a pimp hoe type of situation. It does exist. In her particular situation, I don't believe it. And I said this on my review, and this is just some real stuff. Like, and you two are women, so I'm pretty sure y'all will agree with this. But if you're in a situation like that to where you don't hold the purse strings and you're being given, let's just say, an allowance, if you're being given physical money, you should have a separate account. Have that mail go into your mama or your daddy's house to where
Right.
the other person can't see it and put money into it. Or if you don't and you're in her situation to where you have credit cards, how about you buy things that will appreciate in value, put that in a storage unit, and then when it's time for you to make your escape, go ahead, sell that off, and now you have the money to do what you're doing. But Erica trying to make it seem like she never knew how to had a checking account, know how to use a debit card, this, that, and third. You full of shit. But I'm just saying, if you really wanted to get out, you could have played that hand. Because here's the thing, let's keep it all the way 1,000. If you had enough wherewithal and enough connections to where it was legal, but you won't discuss how you was able to lease a vehicle and be able to move in broad daylight, you had that same amount of resources where
Thank you.
And for her to say that's and out of all the things that she talked about, that's the one thing you can't tell nobody. You can't explain to us how the hell your ass was able to back up a moving truck, like you said, in broad daylight, lease a brand new 2021 Range Rover, and rent a $10,000 a month house. First month, last month security deposit, ma'am.
Go
And
find someone else to play with.
and out of all the things that he asked you, that's what you plead the fifth on? That's what you plead the fifth on?
And if it wasn't the money you were siphoning from Tom, then it goes into the theory again that you were already cheating on Tom and you had a benefactor, because you're not going to convince me that some man came out of thin air after you left him and started affording your life.
Listen.
I mean, if we can keep it all the way 1,000, they both, I'm pretty sure they had an open marriage. Because I know she wasn't upset at the mistresses. She was glad she didn't have to lay with him.
Right.
So and that's why she never left him. That's why it wasn't a deal breaker. That's why it wasn't a deal breaker.
The judge was there for at least 10 years.
Right.
That's half their marriage.
Right. That's why him having an affair wasn't a deal breaker. Because like you said, it was very much given. And again, and that's why I don't believe nothing that Erica said to me. Let me explain something to you. Well, let me break it down the way it breaks down in my brain. I'm married to, let's forget about how he was getting the money. Let's forget about he was stealing it from the orphans for a minute. I am married to a multi-millionaire, a man who wins a multi-million-dollar lawsuits. He's running this huge law firm. The man that's giving me $20 million of his own money to go and play pop star, right? This is who I am married to. You mean to tell me that when I get my little $500,000 check from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, he's sitting there going, I don't believe it. I believe that Tom was like, girl, go on and spend your little housewives money and buy you a couple of pair of Louboutins or something. I don't think he was stunting that money.
Don't forget about the Shoe Dazzle deal. Don't forget about when she was doing Chicago.
Deal, all of that.
So you was giving him all that money.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't believe that, because again, let's forget about let's forget about how he was making the money and he was stealing it. Let's just go by the fact that, based on what we knew at the time, he's this high-powered attorney making, buku bucks, millions and millions of dollars, got 2 private jets, right? Why is he stunting your $500,000 Real Housewives? Maybe you even got $1 million advance on your book. Maybe you was making, like, it doesn't, all
Yeah.
of that pales in comparison to the money he has spent on you over the years. I
Mhm.
refuse to believe that he was standing at the door like, when you go to work today and you fill out your paperwork, put on that direct deposit in my bank account. Thank you. I just don't believe her. I don't believe it. I don't believe that you gave him all your money. It just, because it don't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I just can't wrap my brain around it. If it don't make sense, it ain't right. I don't believe it.
Now, I will. Now, one thing that was discussed, because this is all in the very beginning. What before I say it, she needs to hire somebody that can help her. Because when Andy was asking her about the way that her relationship looked and why did she portray it one way for 6 years, and then all of a sudden it's a different way. And her whole thing is, well, people in relationships are complex. No, you could have just said, you know, I would have went down the route of, well, going through stuff, you don't want your friends and family to know, because then they start to hate, the person that you're with, get back with them because you want to try to make it work. And now you got to deal with this and that. And a lot of us up here go through stuff in our marriages and we don't show the ugly, but we want to sit here and try to, you know what I'm saying? Like, out of that way, you don't know how to really talk your way out of things, because she could have spun that in a very nice way and fuck.
Okay, so then, what's his name? Andy asked her, "Well, why would you lie to Garcelle if he had all of these affairs and he cheated on you so badly? Why did you lie to Garcelle and tell Garcelle that he never cheated on you?" Now this pissed me off because she said because of who was
Because of
asking.
who it was. Yep. Yep.
But again, I don't believe her. I think she lied because she came up with he had all these affairs after the fact. That's just my 2 cents. Because again, you didn't just lie to Garcelle. You did lie to Garcelle on camera, but you would never tell nobody that this man was cheating on you. You had
Mhm.
everybody thinking that y'all life was all peaches and cream and lilacs and roses. So
He
that was that.
loves me and he supports me in my career.
So then Andy asked Kyle, "Well, why didn't you say anything when you heard about the affairs?" And what I wrote in my notes, Kyle is tongue-tied about affairs. Y'all saw her trying to figure out a way to talk around that shit.
Listen, Kyle know everything. I told you, the people around there knew what was going on in that house, and ain't nobody want to say nothing. How the hell we all know? But Erica blind.
But I
Erica
also
deaf,
think
dumb,
that
and blind to it.
I think she's also trying to um use kid gloves with Erica, because I know that it's going to come up what all the women had to say in their confessionals that differ from what they were actually saying to her face. Because you know how in part one, Cal said, "Oh well, yeah, she unfollowed me on social other stuff," and but she doesn't understand why. So I think was also part of it. Like, let me try to make this sound nice so I don't get a whole lot from her when this particular piece comes up, which she's still gonna give it to you. She is shady. You
Erica's
ain't shit.
angry. You saw the previews for next week when she was snapping at Crystal, and Andy was like, "Okay, girl, you're doing a lot because I'm angry." He was like, "Yeah, but you're not mad at Tom, but you snapping everybody head off in here that just say something halfway side," which again, once again, proves to me that you ain't mad at Tom because you in on the shit, not in on him stealing the money, but in on the scheme about the divorce.
Yeah,
That's just
in the
that's my
whole dementia, and she's still holding on to that dementia, which
Okay,
I
we're
got
gonna get to
something
that in
for
a
too.
second. We're gonna get to that one in a minute because that whole situation pissed me off. We're gonna get there in a second. Hold on, I'm almost done with my notes. I'm almost done with my notes. Um, she said that she sought legal advice, but she is not at liberty to say when. All right, here's the part about the medical piece of this. What pissed me off about that whole moment was now all of a sudden, all of those women, for the exception of the three amigos, and the three amigos would be Crystal, Garcelle, and Sutton. All of a sudden, everybody is like, "Yeah, Erica, you're right. That does look like dementia. That was just like my friend looked at that episode and said that reminds her of her mom. Oh, you're right. Oh my goodness, he was just telling the same stories." I was like, "Oh, y'all are kissing Erica's whole behind." But if you notice, Crystal, whose dad had dementia, and who you notice, Crystal, like she didn't say
Nothing.
none of that shit. None
You
of
know
it.
who also likes to tell little charismatic stories? Sociopaths, narcs. Because they like the attention on them. They like people rallying around them, cheering them on. That's what I saw in that moment also.
Oh, that's a good point, Whitey. Remember, Erica had Tom reading over the documents for her Broadway. She had him read the documents, her Broadway contract. Remember that episode? And so
Yeah.
yeah, his mental health is declining, but you got him reading over contracts. Okay, girl. Okay.
He negotiated her Bravo contracts. Every deal she made, according to her, he was the lawyer negotiating the contracts. So I want to hear what the people who are on the opposite end are saying, how they interacted with him. How was he in those negotiations? Which one of the lawyers in that bankruptcy case has now subpoenaed Bravo for unaired footage because he wants to know how out of it is this man really?
Right.
Because I caught Erica in this little thing here. Okay. So she said that she couldn't get doctors to officially diagnose him with dementia because the doctors were so fearful of being sued by him. But as soon as the bottom falls out and Babylon is on his ass, now he can run to the doctor to get his COOP certification and get under COOP protection. Somebody riddle me that.
I don't have an answer. I stopped trying to make sense of the stories that she was telling a long time ago. And then, but also it was funny how when she told a little bit more of the story, it was like, oh, well, had you told us that then it would have made. I'm looking at them like that little
It still
extra
don't
that
make
she gave
sense.
y'all don't clear up anything. Nothing.
Not only that, but during the season, at the beginning of the season, all of y'all was throwing out the little slick comments about, oh, he seemed fine to us. Kyle said that. Kyle said it in her confessional, and she said it on Watch What Happens Live. Dorit said the same thing, but now all of a sudden, oh, you know what? You're right. That does sound like, well, hey, Sharon, welcome back, girl. I was like, But like I said, I noticed that the three people who was quiet was Crystal, Sutton, and Garcelle. They had nothing to say.
But I do want to say this. Erica did slip up and tell the truth.
Yeah, a couple of times, but go ahead. What she say?
That car accident. She said she found him and took him to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
She found him and took him to the hospital. He was in a car accident. How did you get him out the car, Erica? Or was there really a car accident, Erica?
Well, notice you see in next week's episode, Andy says, "Well, there's no police record," and she said, "Yeah, they can't seem to find it."
Because there was no police record. There was no car accident. The word on the curb is Tom parked his car wrong. Cha-Cha slid a little bit much to the left, rolled down a hill. The neighbor came out the following morning, found Tom in his yard, called Erica, and Erica took him to the hospital, which is why there's no police report, which is why Erica took him to the hospital. How is Erica going to go over a cliff and pull this man out of a car?
Right.
She has no equipment for that.
Exactly. And not only that, but even that part about, and I called my friend who's orthopedic, and I said, I don't want him going under. First of all, Erica, what medical school did you go to? You mean to tell me that you had picked up on something that the rest of these doctors, nurses at probably one of the better hospitals in the country because of where you live, you mean to tell me that they didn't make the connection between this man being older and maybe it's not a good idea to put him under anesthesia? You think they didn't think about that? You think they didn't run the test that needed to be run? Like, what makes you? And that doesn't mean that that doctors are infallible. That is not what I'm saying. But who does like,
At
girl?
that age, they're running the gamut. They're doing CT scans, X-rays, MRIs. They doing it all.
Exactly.
But
And at that age, they're gonna check all that shit. Go ahead.
but no, I was gonna say now I don't want y'all to answer this, but just think about it. But if you was in Erica's situation and ain't nothing popped off yet, and you have the ability to a legal way take your husband out so you can go ahead and cash in on that insurance policy, you ain't gonna do it. Knowing y'all ain't having relations and what, don't answer the question. I'm just saying, like, if that was it, come on now. Especially when we know you a gold digger too. Like, come on now.
And you're absolutely right, Zara. At the beginning of last season, when they were in New York for New York Fashion Week, and Denise was talking about the problems that she was having with Charlie and having to go to court, he subpoenaed her to court. She absolutely did pick up the phone and call Tom to get advice about what Denise should or should not do, and then even said, and if you want Tom to represent you, I'll make sure that he represents you. You mean to tell me? Because remember, Denise got mad at her because Denise was like, "Girl, I can call my own lawyer, and I can pay for it." Like, she was mad about it. So you are absolutely correct, Zara. I remember that. So again, the math ain't mathing. Because it's one thing, that's again, I'm gonna just keep using y'all as my example. It's one thing if y'all is my husband and he is a lawyer and he's a good lawyer. He's a good lawyer. But I know that he's starting to lose it a little bit. I might not be publicly telling people he losing it, but I damn sure ain't about to be out here recommending him to my friends. Cause I'm gonna be like, he's busy. He has way too many cases right now, but I'm gonna see if he can refer somebody to you. But girl, you was straight up. Yeah, he reads over all my contracts. Yes, Tom is the best. Oh, you want him to represent you, girl? Let me call him right now. She absolutely did. She absolutely did.
And then her trying to play up that whole, well, obviously I'm correct because he has a black eye and he looks disheveled. Okay, first and foremost, he's an elderly man. He could be peeling an apple and get a black eye. That's how that works.
Like, right, it's not nobody knows how he got the black eye now. Just because he has dementia doesn't mean, like, what is that? So dementia equal black eye? Where they do that?
Yeah, it doesn't mean any of that. How about he stressed the hell out because these people have taken his life away?
See,
he's been sniffed out.
That's gonna come back on Bravo because because we're only in part 2, but they mysteriously give us this receipt to show him with a black eye, which makes it seem as if they're trying to cover for her.
Mm-hmm.
So, wait, somebody said, damn, yeah, you're disappearing. I know what they mean. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You know, like I said, I just took some time off to enjoy some good ass food and not doing nothing. And then I decided, all right, let me go ahead and stun on these hoes.
That's right.
And there it is. That's all it is.
Y'all said after Hot Girl Summer is what they call it, Cozy Boy Winter or some shit. I don't know.
Look, all I'm saying is I was starting to look as plump as my eldest brother, and I wasn't finna be the fat one, so I had to just go ahead and let him.
I was not gonna be the fat one.
I wasn't going to, not today. All right.
Okay. Whitney said that the black eye looked like makeup, glam squad. You know what? Listen, I wouldn't put it past none of them because
it did go away kind of fast, if you ask me. But that's
because again, I absolutely believe, and I told y'all, I said this from the very beginning. Y'all listen, y'all can go all the way back to the video I did at the very beginning of all of this stuff happening, and I've said it a couple of times since then. I absolutely believe that this was a plan. The divorce was planned. Yep. I believe that Erica sat down with Tom and his lawyers, and they told her, listen, shit about to hit the fan. But what I don't think they anticipated Erica getting caught up in it. I think they thought. I don't think Erica thought, because I ain't gonna say they thought. I think Erica thought that if I follow this plan, I'll be okay. And I think that's what it was. But I absolutely believe that this whole divorce was a plan. I just do. I don't believe that Erica just woke up one day and said, I can't take it anymore. And they alluded to that last night because, because Andy was like, well, you got to know it. The shit don't look good. That you stuck with him through the affairs and through everything else because the money was there. But now he has dementia and the money is running out and now you gone. And that pissed her off. That pissed Erica off. Chad.
But I just want to make one mention. And it is, you know how we have compared Andy's treatment of certain housewives versus others. Why is it that between episode 1 and episode 2, she didn't sit here and spoke to her boss in a very disrespectful manner? I got it, you're emotional, whatever, but she was snapping at him, and now we see in the upcoming episode, because I'm angry. Well, who the fuck is you talking to? Like that. But again, had it been somebody of a different hue, he ain't finna just let you do that.
I disagree because I think Monique was disrespectful last season.
I'm not snapping off on Andy the way that she's
I think
doing.
Candace has been disrespectful to Andy. I think Monique was disrespectful to Andy. So I'm not gonna say that I think it's. I'm not gonna say that because I think both of them have been Hell, Nene Leakes was disrespectful as fuck.
I will give you that one. I'll give you Nene. I can't fight the Nene one. I can't even fight that.
Kenya was disrespectful to Andy when Andy started talking to Kenya about the fertility and all of that. Sheree has been disrespectful to Andy.
Auntie Dee. I mean, hey. No medical files in front of me.
I guess that's how they do it in Beverly Hills, Auntie Dee.
Just your little iPhone pic.
Cameron, I like Monique too, but Monique was disrespectful. Talking about, that little old check.
okay, but it's one thing for the.
I'm not saying that. I'm just laughing about that.
But I'm just saying, like the tone and the vitriol that Erica is giving, no, and we've had other instances, like when Teresa literally pushed him because she was trying to get to what was the.
Now that was right. That was absolutely. Now that should have been grounds for termination in any other job.
Like, you're strong. Like you're laughing that your employee put their hands on you.
Right.
I will say Cheryl New York has told Andy, "Fuck you."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Kelly Dodd was disrespectful as fuck too. But Kelly Dodd is just disrespectful. Like,
yeah, that's the brand.
He was just disrespectful.
Oh, one thing that I didn't want us to pass over is when Andy said to her, so given the fact that he's funded your musical career and all this other stuff, and knowing what you know now about Tom, would you do it over again? And rather than saying yes or no, she was like, well, I don't know who I'm married to. And like when I tell you Andy let her slide on a lot of comments, like, because I would have been like, but that's not what I asked you. What I asked you, so
and she goes back into this. I hope he didn't do it. And
well, I was
these
gonna say,
accusations, and that right there burned me up too. If it's so accusatory, Erica, why are you being sued to pay back money that you claim you're not liable for?
Well, that was actually going to be the last comment I was going to read my notes.
Oh, my bad.
Last week it was alleged victims, and this week is I hope he didn't steal the money. What more do you need? Like, girl, like I understand that. Again, I understand you just can't come right out and be like, I know he a thief. But what more do you need to hear from him?
He did it. You know he did it. Like, stop it. And I remember that one comment she made a few episodes back. You know, Tom has done a lot for a lot of people, and I wish they would step up for him. You mean done a lot for or done a lot to? Because what it sounds like is Tom muscled a lot of people.
Right. And if he's the big bad wolf that you claim him to be,
they run around there rejoicing he is out.
Exactly. The same way he treated you is the same way they treated them. You know, I did not see last night's episode. I heard Megan McCain and S.E. Cooper on there, but I did not see. You said they spoke about Erica Child coming to the stage, Watermelon Sugar.
But Andy don't need to host these reunions anymore. Like, because if you can't get us the answers that we need, because it seemed like he's scared of Erica.
But I'm gonna say this too. I also think that the way they're editing it, I'm gonna wait until I see all 4 episodes before I'm gonna totally say that Andy is letting her off the hook, because I think they're giving us the Erica portions. I think they're giving us the Erica stuff in portions. I think all of this happened at one time, but they're breaking it up for each episode, so that each episode we're getting a little bit of the Erica stuff. Yeah. And so I don't know if he is letting her off the hook so much as those are the parts that they're showing us in that moment. Now, at the end of episode 4, if it's still the same, then I'm gonna be like, yeah, you was right, y'all. But I'm gonna wait because I think they're breaking it up.
The only way that I can let him slide is if it's one of those situations to where you're giving her the rope to hang herself, and before she can catch it is the coup de grace. If Andy does that, I will take back 2% of the bad shit I done said. Only 2.
And we also have to remember that Erica's lawyers were there. And there may have been times when Erica paused and was told she couldn't, you know what I mean? Because Erica's lawyers were there. And so we know that Erica never ran off stage, but there may have been times where she paused and looked over or whatever. And, you know, and again, we're getting the edited stuff. So I'm gonna wait because I agree with what you're saying. Based on what we saw last night, I do feel like some stuff he sort of let her off the hook. But then the first episode, I don't feel like he did. I think he sort of held her feet to the fire a little bit. So I'm gonna wait and see how the rest of the segments play out. But I hear what you're saying, because last night I do feel like he asked the question and then it didn't really. I really felt like at one point he was just asking the questions and he didn't even care what her answer was. It was like, oh, okay, next question. I feel like he was just going through a checklist. You know what I'm saying?
And wait, when he asked her, why didn't you leave sooner? Her first response is, where was I going? See, I couldn't have been there because I would have been like, okay, well, we know with my auntie Tina Turner, when she got done, you know, whooping the shit out of Ike, she went to a hotel motel, didn't have nothing but her name, but she was able to get her. I'm just like, you can make a way.
But Erica, you go to the same person that you went to that helped your ass get a $10,000 a month house and a brand new Range Rover. I mean, I'm sorry, like them same people that helped you could have helped you a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And again, I keep going back to the fact that the one thing that Erica had that Tina Turner did not have was Erica was making her own money and had access to it. I don't believe the bullshit that you was giving Tom your money. I just don't. But remember, when Tina Turner ran across that damn freeway, her had like $6 in her pocket. Okay? So, Erica, you have access to millionaires, hell, billionaires. You saw on camera, Sutton was like, girl, if you need a loan, because I know when I left my husband, I needed some money. So if you need a loan, you let me know. Like, Erica, if you wanted to leave that man, you could have left that man. Just say, listen, I wasn't ready to leave. Just say I wasn't ready to leave. For whatever reason, I can't tell you when it's time. Listen, I ain't gonna never, unless it's abuse, I ain't gonna never tell nobody to leave a husband or leave their wife, because I can't tell nobody when their marriage is over. But just say, listen, I wasn't ready to leave. You ain't gotta say because the money was good. You ain't gotta say because I was living a good life and I didn't want to let that go. Just say I wasn't ready to leave. And when I got ready to leave and I got fed up and enough was enough, I left. And it just so happened to be a week before his ass got indicted. I don't know.
And one other thing is when he asked, why didn't you, like, wouldn't you have gotten half? And she was like, I would have got half the debt, half the liability.
Not 5 years ago.
Unless he circles back to that towards the end, it's one of those where when all this popped off and you would have left him when you found out he had the first mistress, what debt, what liability was there?
Your slip was showing. Because, like you said, you're right. Now that's a good one. He would, and he did. I will say, he did ask her again. He did follow up, and she gave him the same answer, and he let it go. Because again, and I agree, he should have pressed it. Because now, because my question is, well, if 3 or 4 years ago you thought everything was everything, you didn't know about the debt, you didn't know about the liability. What do you mean half of the debt? No, you'd have got half of a Pasadena mansion and half of a private jet and half of a house in La Quinta that had your name on it that you didn't know nothing about. Like, you would have got the shit. But you wasn't ready to leave because life was good. Because like I said before, as long as that credit card didn't get declined, Erica Jane didn't give a damn about none of the rest of it. None of the rest of it.
Because even when she was saying the cars would have got cut up as soon as she left, and I'm like, well, again, to you all's point, what would have been different then that isn't different now? You mean to tell me now he let you out of the marriage so easily?
And to hear you tell the story, you left with nothing anyway. So if you had left 5 years ago, you were making money. Again, you didn't want to give up that lifestyle. That's it. That's all. You didn't want to give up that life. Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of which, did y'all hear Andy shady ass when Erica said something about, well, when I first married Tom, I was 27. He was like, and a cocktail waitress. I said, you shady bitch.
But I will say I'm slightly upset because there was a moment that could have been had between Garcelle and Erica that either they didn't let it happen or it didn't. They excluded it when the mistress talk happened and she said, well, I just posted it because I was angry. I wasn't drunk. And you heard Garcelle say something along the lines of, yeah, I know how that feels because she's been there. And that could have been a good moment for those two to have where, because she's already told the story, but they could have connected, even though, again, we know Erica full of shit. But it's just like y'all dropping the ball on so much good stuff, or we could just
because I was waiting for. I thought now when Garcelle said it and the camera panned over to Garcelle, I thought they were going to address it. I thought Garcelle was going to. I thought Andy was going to sort of turn to Garcelle and say, Garcelle, you sort of had that situation, right? And then Garcelle could have said, yeah, honey, because when I found out my husband cheated, I sent that email to everybody.
I thought Andy was going to address the timing, considering that she dropped it the same day that LA Times article released to distract everyone from that LA Times article, because I don't recall many people, if not any people, talking about that LA Times article that details Tom's crooked deeds. She did it the very day.
No, everybody was talking about that LA Times article. That's why nobody even realized she doxed the damn judge.
Well, I remember the judge. I don't remember the LA Times article.
The LA Times article kicked all of this stuff off on the show. When that LA Times article dropped, because before that LA Times article...
I'm talking about in the media.
No, I'm saying, no. Well, okay, let me speak from my point of view. No, everybody was talking about that LA Times article because I didn't even notice she had docked the damn judge because she took it down so fast. I mean, of course, people got the screenshots of it, but that was like a blimp. She did do it, I think, to distract. But no, Erica, that article is what kicked all this shit off. Because up until that point, Erica was getting the sympathy. But once that LA Times article dropped, that's what changed the whole conversation about Erica and this because up until that point it was like, oh my gosh, Erica Jane left her husband. What? Erica Jane left her husband. Oh my goodness. And then that LA Times article dropped and it was like, well, what did she know and when did she know it? That's my recollection. That's my recollection. Erica could have called her cousin Pooh or Nene and moved in with one of them if she
Well, actually, I don't think she could because she's not originally from Beverly Hills. She's from the South, so if she would have done that, then she wouldn't have been on the show.
Right. But
unless they would have had just a personal camera crew with her to document her while she's back in Georgia.
All of them would have had Erica's back. Hell, she could have moved in with Sutton over to Kyle's extra house, child.
Ooh, that's a good question. Did you see the question that Whitney just asked in the comments?
Yeah, I'm about to get to that in a quick second. I'm gonna get to that in a quick second. Remember, Erica had that lease on that downtown loft. If Erica really wanted to go somewhere, she could have moved into the goddamn loft. I mean, Erica had options. Erica had options. Now, Whitney, I said Whitey, Lord. Whitney, I'm gonna say this. And then we're gonna get ready to close it out. Whitney, I owe an apology because last week I said I didn't believe Tom had a flip phone. But you know what? I kind of believe it now because
A
Erica was
burner.
too accurate about when she had sent that text and she couldn't find the space because she had to do the whole keyboard. I said, oh, maybe he did. But I believe he still had I still think he had a smartphone though.
I do
I just
too.
think maybe he had the flip phone and he was cheating on her. That's what
And
he had on
another
his
thing,
history.
I think
to
no,
add on,
I think the flip phone was a burner phone for some of his
Yeah,
misdoings. I
yeah,
don't think it was necessarily the cheating, but
yeah. That was right. I believe he did have a flip phone now because that shit was too accurate when Erica started talking about how she had to make it was one long sentence because she couldn't find the space. I said, yeah, that's how the flip phones used to be. You had
but
to
to
hit
add on,
you had to hit A-B-C space
oh,
capital. Yeah.
hold on. I got a prop. Y'all keep talking. Hold on.
Oh shit, not a problem. Lord, he got a flip phone.
but to add on to Tom's dementia claim is BS. How the hell does he have the mental wherewithal to juggle 3 women?
Right. Yeah, Cameron, she's not in that house anymore. She's moved. She's downgraded again, but that's because her attorneys told her, girl, you are still living way too expensive while we trying to work through this little bankruptcy situation. It
I
ain't
think she's running out of money.
I don't think
And her face is coated.
I don't think she's running out of money. I think that her attorneys are telling her, oh, yeah, buddy. I remember that one. Yeah. I don't think she's running out of money. I think her attorneys are telling her, you are not doing a good enough job of selling the destitute, broke ex-wife. I just don't think because again, Erica, and they brought that up last night. Erica is still flying private jets with her friends. Erica is still wearing her Cartier jewelry. Erica, when she wants to, is still getting glam when she wants to. Now, when she wants to look like she ain't got no money and she got on a raggedy wig or a old but beat up, sweatsuit, yeah, she plays that role too. But I think her attorney said, girl, you are not doing a good enough job of selling this shit. Now, who do we think that lingerie belonged to that they found in Tom's office?
I would need to know Erica's dress size because whoever he bought the lingerie for, they're a size 6.
And it still had the tags on it. So it's not like it was used lingerie that he had stuffed in his drawer because he had a lunchtime quickie. The shit still had the price tags on it. He
But
probably
just
bought
to
it for
show,
Erica and left it in the drawer. Shit.
just to show how brazen that man was, he had that lingerie delivered directly to the office. So that just shows how he ran that whole office.
And remember, the receipt on that was from January of last year. Tom ass was still like it wasn't like that shit was there for a minute. It wasn't like Tom was taken out of his office the day before the day the lingerie appeared. I don't know. I don't think it's that deep. I don't know. Erica looked like she could be a size 6.
That lingerie came from overseas. I know that much.
Yeah, Erica looked like she could be a size 6 child. And again, that don't mean it belong to Erica. But let's be clear, that judge ain't no damn size 6.
Well, he has 2 other women, at least according to what Erica said. He could have 5 other women. But again, that just goes to show he ain't too out of it if he's managing to juggle 3 women. Again, and according to her, he was still clever enough to hide 2 of them. She found that one the day she left.
Exactly. Anyway, y'all. Well, I'm getting ready to get up out of here, y'all. Thank y'all again, as always, for being here. Lil Baby, somebody asked if Lil Baby have a channel. Lil Baby does not have a channel yet. I don't know, she one day. But I would definitely be, y'all know I would be definitely promoting it if and when that were to occur. Yocrates does have a channel. So please make sure that you guys are all subscribed to Yocrates and it's spelled the way you see it up on the screen. He does reviews, he does hot topics, and he also shares another panel with myself on Monday nights. We rotate now. But you can probably usually find us on Scotty by Nature's channel. I think next week we're gonna be on Giving You the Real Teas channel, and that's gonna be a whole nother situation. Because
Yep,
y'all
and
know,
I'm gonna be like Rick James when he walked up in Charlie Murphy's house. I'm finna say him track dirt all through Terrence's house and shit.
Zara, it's alleged some of those, particularly that judge, may know a little something.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can't you can't tell me one thing and then tell me the opposite. You can't say, "Oh my goodness, the dementia, the dementia, the dementia." Yet he juggling 3 women, and you still got him looking over your legal contracts. Like the math ain't mathing. I'm sorry, the math ain't mathing. I cannot. But thank you guys for being here. It is so appreciated. We got part 3 next week, honey. Looks like part 3 we're gonna get into some more of Erica, breaking down some of Erica's stories. Um, Looks like she snaps at Crystal a little bit. And I think I'm with you, y'all. I think that the Sutton stuff is gonna they're gonna maybe hold on to that for the very last part. Because
what
I
I'm
didn't
thinking,
really see them talking about the Sutton situation either.
what I'm thinking is that's gonna be the whole to be continued thing. But I think they're gonna bring it up at the end of part 3, and then we'll tackle it when we get to part 4.
Okay.
But again, assumption. But I'm only saying that based off of how reunions are, they typically have the most explosive for the last part of the reunion, but
Yeah.
they tease it at the end of part 3 or part 2, depending on how the
Oh.
middle one.
Well, thank you so much, Whitney. Thank you. Chastity, I agree. We said that earlier. Chastity, why would you give a millionaire your damn paycheck? Like, that don't even, again, it just don't make no sense. It don't. I have friends who have husbands, and I mean, they not even millionaires, but their husbands make more than enough money to carry the household, and their paycheck is all theirs to do whatever the fuck they want to do with it. And so I refuse to believe that a millionaire, multi-millionaire, is taking your little pennies and he's bringing in millions. Again, I just don't believe it. Now it might be true, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But anyway, don't make sense to me. And if it don't make sense, like in the words of Judge Judy, if it don't make sense, it just ain't true. Tracy said it's gonna be a mess on T channel, and I'm here for it. It is gonna be a whole mess on Terrence's
Yeah,
channel.
because we in his house, like, you know how crazy Terrence is, because Terrence somewhat tries to behave on other people's channels, somewhat.
Right,
We
but
in
on
his
his channel,
house. We in his house. Ain't no rules.
no rules. Oh my gosh,
So,
no
so, so
rules.
for those who don't like Robin being called out her name and all that other stuff, y'all just should, even though we know y'all still go
Yeah,
ride.
sit that one out. Yeah,
Yeah.
if y'all don't want this, y'all might want to sit this one out because it's gonna be a whole situation next week.
And I'm here for it. I
And
am
next
here for it.
isn't next week's episode? No, that's
The
the
week
final
after.
episode.
Week
Oh.
after.
I was gonna say next week's episode is when they have the whole Karen renew, but no, that's the week after that. Okay.
If
No,
I'm
next week is gonna
mistaken,
be actually trying to seduce her husband. You know, Terrence is gonna go off.
and the season finale, aren't we doing that one on Sakina's channel, or is she getting one of the
It should
reunions?
be Sakina's channel. No, it should be Sakina's channel.
Okay.
So I think next is gonna be Terrence, then Sakina. I know I'm back in the rotation, but I should get one of the reunion episodes. I don't know exactly which week, but I know I'm back in the rotation.
Okay.
So, and I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. All right, you guys. Again, thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all so much. And as always, we will see y'all next Thursday for part 3. And I will talk to y'all later. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.